9 brutal truths about lifting weights that, whether due to well-meaning but misinformed family members or just cultural misconceptions or very often the fitness media, 9 brutal truths that seniors learn too late. So let's get to them. Number 1, lifting weights is not just for younger folks. In fact, the older we become, the more important having that strength becomes. So the older we become, the more important lifting weights becomes. Number 2, lifting weights is not just to get stronger muscles. Yes, we all kind of know that. That's great, right? We lift weights, we get stronger muscles. That's excellent. But everything else becomes stronger as well. Your tendons become stronger. Your ligaments become stronger. Extremely important. Your bones become stronger. They become more dense. So if you are fending off osteopenia or osteoporosis, lifting weights is hugely important. Number 3, when possible, go for a barbell over a machine. Some machines are pretty decent. A leg press can be a very useful thing. A lat pull down can be a very useful thing. But in general, go for barbells over machines. Machines tend to be much lower bang for your buck, especially since a lot of them are single joint exercises. So for example, you can use like 10 different machines, or you can just do 1 squat or 1 deadlift or 1 bench press. Since they use a lot of joints, they use a lot of muscle mass. So in general, try to go for barbells over machines. Also, machines tend to not do nearly as good of a job as strengthening your bones as a barbell does, because a barbell is a real useful thing for loading your entire skeletal structure in an appropriate manner, of course, right? You need to start at an appropriate level, but go for barbells in general over machines. Number 4, it can't be light. Now I say that with a big caveat here. It may need to start off light, of course. It needs to start at a very manageable level, but by it can't be light, what I really mean is that if someone has, 2, 3-pound dumbbells and they're just lifting those 3-pound dumbbells day after day after day after day, it's not doing anything, all right? We're not making progress. Over time, the weight needs to slowly go up, right? We've got an 11-pound barbell here made out of aluminum. We've got a PVC barbell made out of 2 pounds, but if someone's starting with that 2-pound barbell, then they are absolutely trying to go to, the next time they come in 2 days later, they're trying to go to, 3 pounds and then 4 pounds. So they might be using bigger increments. They might be making 5-pound jumps, but you get the idea. The weight goes up because that's how you get stronger. You don't get any better repeating 2nd grade over and over and over again. But by the time you get to 4th grade, 2nd grade just got a lot easier, right? The same thing applies to lifting weights. The stress, the weight over time, it must go up. It can't stay light. Number 5, lifting weights is hugely important for balance. As we get stronger, we like to say everything else becomes more submaximal. What that really means is simply that everything else, because what we do in here is challenging, is hard, everything else becomes easier by comparison. So suddenly someone climbs up to a flight of stairs, someone is 80 years old, and that used to be an exhausting task, right? They get to the top of the flight of stairs, now they are exhausted, now they are a fall risk because they're so tired, they're shaky, their muscles are tired, now they're a fall risk, all right? So getting stronger makes climbing that flight of stairs that much easier. So when you get to the top of the stairs, it's not a big deal. Also, if someone does trip, because we all trip, whether we're 3 years old or we are 93 years old, everybody trips. When you trip, think of what that looks like to try to stop yourself from falling. When you trip, you've got to be able to quickly put that foot down in a rather forceful manner. Well, if that forceful manner is beyond your strength level, then that's a fall that's about to happen. That's potentially a broken bone. But if you're strong, you can easily put that foot down and catch yourself in that forceful manner that's necessary to do so. So lifting weights, hugely important for balance. Number 6, and this probably goes along with number 1, but number 6, barbells are just a tool. They're not just for bros, right? This kind of popular gym culture idea that we've got in our head of you go to the gym, it's going to be a bunch of bros in tank tops and they're looking at themselves in mirrors and stuff like that. Get that out of your head. A barbell is just a really useful tool, and it is so useful because it's so incremental in nature. We can put a 1/2-pound plate on each side if we want to make a 1-pound jump. We can also put a 2.5-pound plate on each side if we want to make a 5-pound jump or an even bigger jump than that. So we can make really small jumps, but we can also make really big jumps. Machines tend to fall short in this level. Dumbbells certainly fall short in this level. You go from 2 5-pound dumbbells, let's say doing a bench press, and now you're going to 2 10-pound dumbbells doing a bench press or whatever else it is that you're doing. You've made in total a 10-pound jump. In total, a 10-pound jump is a real big thing. In that case, that person has just doubled the amount of weight being used. So barbells, very incremental, and as a result, an extremely useful tool. It's just a tool for getting stronger. Number 7, there's an appropriate place for everyone to start when lifting weights, regardless of your age, regardless of whether you're 7, 37, or 77, there's an appropriate place to start. There's an appropriate place to start regardless of your strength levels, whether you're very, very strong or whether you've never done anything physical in your whole life and you're just looking to begin the process of getting stronger, and regardless of injuries. There's an appropriate place for everybody to start, but that place will look different. That level will look different by person, all right? This is where it's very useful to have a coach. I would recommend looking up a starting strength coach. We'll link to the directory down below, but there is an appropriate place to start. Number 8, speaking of an appropriate place to start, and speaking of specifically of coming in with a history of injury, having injuries does not mean that you can't train. Look at the people in these videos. So many of the people who are in these videos, right? We have a lot of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. These are people who came to us already having knee issues, back issues, hip issues. They've had hip replacements. They have knee arthritis. They've got disc issues, right? So they didn't come in with this idea that because I have these injuries, I can't train. Instead, they learn from their friends or their family members who already train here. They learn that because I have these injuries, it is all the more important that I train. Because you can ask yourself this question. It's a great question to ask yourself. If I'm going to have this problem, if I'm going to have this knee issue, for instance, would I rather have that knee issue and be weak, or would I rather have that knee issue and be strong? So remember, if you've got an injury, yes, it's going to affect how you start training. You may have to make some modifications, but we do that all the time for people. But if you have an injury, it is all the more important that you train, not that you avoid training. And last but certainly not least, and this one probably ties it all together better than anything else, number 9, lifting begets independence. Lifting weights begets independence, right? Because you've got stronger muscles, you've got stronger bones, stronger tendons, stronger ligaments. You are a more capable human being. You have better balance. You are less of a fall risk. You are able to do things independently, right? The day, somebody once told this to me a long time ago, they said the day that you can't squat is the day that you can't get up off of a toilet by yourself. And the day you can't do that by yourself is the day that you can no longer live by yourself. So getting stronger, lifting weights begets independence. We'd love to help you. Hope this helps you get stronger and live better.